Chelsea Clinton made 2 stops in Tallahassee today campaigning for her mother, Hillary Clinton, ahead of next week's primary. The former first daughter met with the Women's Club of Tallahassee as well as the Tallahassee African Americans for Hillary this morning. She discussed her mother's plans to build on what she called the progress made by President Obama, including topics like universal health care and gun control. A CNN ORC poll shows Clinton winning in a landslide over Bernie Sanders in the next 2 big contests, Florida and Ohio. Her daughter is urging voters to go out to the polls to cast a ballot for her mother.
Clearly, I'm deeply passionate about my mom, and I'm incredibly grateful to be her daughter. I only grow in my gratitude now as a working mom, and as I realize just how extraordinary my mom was in giving me the gift of never doubting I was the most important person in the world to her.
McClay loading up the bus and hitting the road to the cheers of friends and family. Their opponent this afternoon, it's a good club Head coach Drew Sherrod knows the Marauders will have to play flawless baseball against to come out on top.
They have 6 Division I commitments from what we're told. Their pitcher is committed to Clemson, and it's going to be a very, very tough game for us. They don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. They're just a very solid ball club.
Valdosta High School football players put pen to paper yesterday morning, and all 3 inking with Bluefield College in Bluefield, West Virginia. The Bluefield Rams play NAIA football in the Mid-South Conference, and Kendrick Patrick, a defensive end, center Bruce Scott, and John Bryan, also an offensive lineman, can't wait to suit up next season. And head coach Alan Rodemaker excited his guys have a chance to continue their careers.
For me and for our program, it's awesome anytime we can give a young man an opportunity to leave Valdosta. We had a class of 25 seniors this year, and we've signed 9 of those guys, so that's a pretty good ratio. Almost half of our class signed college scholarships this year at Valdosta High School, and that's outstanding for us.
Gilcrest Elementary School in Tallahassee celebrating a major milestone.
1, 2, 3. Everybody.
Is that awesome to have our own mascot, Andrew Mannheimer, who has a special here, and she has helped sponsor our event today and our big birthday.
When you mention Gilchrist, you mention tradition and the tradition of excellence. And the teachers that came back today are some of the best teachers that we've ever had in our system. So we want to recognize them and some of the principals that are here today that came back.
Monday's march began through downtown Tallahassee, ending with a service at the Capitol Courtyard. At the service, officers, family, and state leaders spoke on behalf of the fallen officers, honoring their service to their communities.
For the work that your loved ones do, that the law enforcement officials here represented do every day to stand in the gap of our communities and to put themselves in harm's way, sometimes knowingly, other times unknowingly, to make sure that our communities stay safe.
The ceremony was the 34th annual event honoring fallen officers.
Police say it happened around 5 a.m. this morning at Wilson Green Boulevard and Crawfordville Highway. According to officers, the man who was driving an SUV was taken to the hospital but died from his injuries. The truck driver was not hurt.
One family still mourning the loss of a loved one taken too soon, and another pleading with the court to keep their son alive. Aaron Goodwin's body was found burned inside the sneaker store Exclusive Heat in May when officers responded to a fire there. His attorney urged the jury to spare his life, though the death penalty recently became an option after state lawmakers revised policy.
I think we all understand the gravity of the situation. What you're about to do is consider basically what's an irrevocable penalty. I'm not saying that in light of what happened to Mr. Aaron Goodwin. What happened to him was terrible. There's nobody disputing that. I don't think there was anybody ever disputing that. But what you're about to consider today has just that same finality.
Hawkins is the first of 3 defendants to stand trial for the murder.
The firefighters are trying to figure out what sparked that fire. Heartbreak on Byington Place. It started with neighbors seeing and smelling smoke coming from this home. Tallahassee firefighters were called out at 7:24 a.m. One room was filled with heavy fire. They found the body of 37-year-old Ray Jamie Scott. Her daughter, 6-year-old Anaya, and 7-year-old Anisha were critical and taken to the hospital, but did not survive. It's a tragedy that is gripping the Huntington Woods neighborhood.
The two girls, they play in front of the house all the time, and I keep an eye on them, the neighbors keep an eye on them, and I just seen them yesterday riding the bicycles.
It hit me hard. I have 2 young kids myself, around the same age as them, and last weekend we were just playing with them on this same road right here beside my house. So to know that they're not here anymore and we just talk to them, it's hard.
Firefighters believe it started in the kitchen.
We are still processing the scene, so it's early. We don't know, we really don't have any details about the cause.
Questions investigators still working to answer, but we do know they touched many lives, as the mother was a teacher at Sable Palm Elementary School and the children attended school there.
This is the TV tower where 3 men parachuted off of in the early morning hours of Thursday. And officials say only 2 of the 3 jumpers survived. The 3rd jumper was found in this area past the TV tower about 800 feet away.
We started from the tower and worked out. When we got here, it was dark, of course. You couldn't see. You could see the tower from the lights, but you couldn't see the guy wires. And when you're looking at something 1,600 to 2,000 feet up, it's very difficult with a naked eye to determine what you're looking at, and to determine that he actually had come off the tower.
According to the Thomas County Sheriff's Office, the 3 men base jumped off the TV tower between 2 and 3 a.m. Officials have now identified the deceased as 37-year-old Brandon Jackson. However, the 2 other men, Tom Baker and Miles Dasher, have been arrested on charges of criminal trespassing. Thomas County Fire Rescue, Thomas County Sheriffs, as well as helicopters from Leon County assisted in the search.
When I arrived just before daylight, the helicopter was already up and searching, and they used their FLIR to try to find a heat signature in the area, and we just weren't fortunate enough to find one. So there's quite a clearing around the tower, and that's what I think they're looking at. Is I got plenty of room to land down here safely, but you bring in the wind factor and then the possibility that he struck one of the guy wires, and all bets are off. It's up to the wind current.
Reporting in Thomas County, Brittany Kleinpeter, WTXL, ABC 27, dedicated to you.
We had a terrible accident involving 2 of our school buses, but the good Lord was with us and protected those children and prevented the injuries from being a lot worse.
The community of Jackson County is rattled after a semi-truck smashes into 2 school buses, sending dozens of students to area hospitals.
Being a small town, most parents were already coming. I mean, they know when something's happened. So we had first responders that did an excellent job. All the administrators came over, parents, nurses from a hospital and everything. So, there was a lot of people that came to help out.
The crash happened in Grand Ridge on US 90 and Sagebrush as the buses were on their way to school. Authorities say 3 students were life-flighted to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, and more than 24 were taken to Jackson County Hospital. The school district says none of the students are facing life-threatening injuries. However, they do have plans in place to offer support to the students and their families.
Have extra counselors going over to the school and talking to the kids and trying to, let them understand how things happen and what goes on.
It is a very traumatic situation. Family members or friends were on those buses with them, and so it's very scary for them.